Hey, hi everyone. Good morning, guys. Let's start the session for today. Okay, so guys, today we'll keep the agenda quite simple, guys. So we will go ahead and we'll start creating our Azure free tier accounts, and we'll see what are the different steps that we are going to follow and how we are going to create a free tier account. What are the things that we need to consider, and then we will go ahead and we will see our first service Microsoft Entra ID, like what is this ID and how this is going to be helpful for us. So all those things we will have a discussion in today's session. Okay, so let's talk about your creation of your free tier account. So as I have mentioned in the previous session, so whenever you feel like you want to, start doing the practice with your Azure cloud, so you have to have a, one account, so which you guys can go and you can start picking up. So where you need to have an email ID and you need to have a credit card. So guys, these days sometimes it works even with the debit card as well. So if you feel like no, I don't want to give the credit card, so then what you guys can do is like you can go and you can try your debit card as well and just check it out if it is working or not. Just validate if it is going to work or not. If it is not working, then you can go and you can try with your credit card. So now this email ID, you can take any email ID, guys. You can go ahead and you can take a Gmail, or you can take your Outlook. Okay, so now what I recommend is like since you guys are starting fresh, so ensure like you guys are creating a new email ID and then go ahead and try to work with this. So what am I going to show you is like I'll go and I'll showcase you like how you guys are going to create your ID. So let me tell you, how quickly we can go ahead and we can create an email ID so that we can use this email ID for creating our Azure free tier accounts. So go ahead and click on outlook.com. So now here you will be having an option of creating a free tier account. So go ahead and click on create a free account. So go ahead and give the new email address, guys. So as part of an email, I'll say like KSR B2. I'll say just like this. Okay. So hash to multi-cloud at the rate, or I can say multi-cloud DevOps. Okay. So at the rate outlook.com, click on next. So let me save this information, guys. So now go ahead and try to give the password for this. So click on next. So now I'm going to select India. So date of birth, whatever the date of birth that you have, okay, whatever the number that you feel like giving, give it, no issues. So click on next. So first name, I'm going to say like, KSR batch 2. So surname, I will say like, it's a DevOps batch. Okay. So now click on next. So after this is done, okay, so you can just skip for now, guys. So later we will see this one. So for now, it's not required for us. I'll just skip for now. So here what we are trying to achieve, guys, we're just creating one email ID. Okay. See guys, already if you have an email ID where you guys want to use the same email ID for your login purpose, you can go and you can use it. But make sure that that ID is never used for registering your AWS, sorry, registering for your Azure accounts. Okay. So it should be like you should not use that email address anytime with your Azure products. So that you will be eligible for your free tier accounts, guys. So now my email address is active. So now what I can do is like I can go ahead and I can start creating my Azure account. So what you guys can do is like you can go to the Google and you can start searching like Azure Cloud free tier account. So where you will be landing onto the URL, guys. So here what you guys can do is like you can go and you can try Azure for free. You can go and you can search for try Azure for free. So where it is going to ask you to do the sign up. So now as part of this sign up, okay. So here there are since we don't have any account as of now, there is a button here, right? No account, just click on create one. No account, just click on create one. So now I have already logged into my Outlook, so where I'm going to use the same account for login or for registering with my Azure cloud. So here it is going to ask me to provide my details like what is the region, and what is the country that I'm coming from, and then what is the first name, and then come down. So phone number, just to make sure that whatever the phone number that you guys are holding right now with you. So where you can say like you are ready to provide your OTP details, or where you are ready to take a call from Azure. So make sure that you guys are giving that number. So let's say like this is the number that which I'm holding right now with me. Okay. So now under the company name, I will say like KSR batch 2 DevOps, I will say it. Okay. So PAN ID is optional, guys. So if you want, you can give, otherwise you can ignore it. So address line, I'll go and I'll say like okay, I'm coming from Bangalore. I'll give the Bangalore location. So I'll say like address line as a Bangalore. So that is fine, optional. City, I will mention it as a Bangalore, and then state I will say like a Karnataka. So postal code I will say like 29. So click on next. So now this is going to ask me in the shape, like this is the shape that we have to turn this one. So I'll go and I'll try to move this one into the same. So click on done, and then I represent a so on, so terms and conditions, you just click it. So guys, here, since you guys are going to give a valid details, so what I recommend is like make sure that you guys are properly giving your relevant information, like where exactly you guys are coming from. So please make sure that you guys are giving the relevant information, like where exactly you guys are coming, what is your exact address. So whenever you are providing your credit card details, as per that particular credit card, what is the location that you guys are coming from, ensure like you are providing those details properly here. If possible, you can submit your PAN details as well, right? If you guys are coming mostly from India, so then what you guys can do, you can go ahead and you can provide your PAN ID. So this gives the confirmation like okay, the user is not a fake user, the user is a real user. So where they will go ahead and they will immediately activate your free tier account. Okay. So now once this information, everything you guys are done with that, so just click on the next part. So now the moment you click on the next, what it will do is like it will go and it will start asking me, okay, please verify your debit card or a credit card details. So what it needs is like it will go ahead and it will do a small transaction of 2 rupees if you are in India, or else it will do a transaction of $1 if you guys are outside of India. So if you are in India, guys, so then it will go and it will do the transaction of 2 rupees from your debit card or a credit card. So better if you have a credit card, then better use the credit card, guys, so that in one single go your account will be activated. But if you don't have a credit card, then if you would like to try, you can try with by giving your debit card. Okay. Please do not use your RuPay cards. So what is the terms and condition, guys? Terms and condition is like don't use your RuPay cards. If you guys are coming from India, so don't use RuPay cards and don't use SBI cards. Okay. So I'm talking about debit, guys, not credit. Okay. Credit card you can use whatever you want. So this is optional. Okay. Is it going to work or not? It depends. So Kotak Mahindra banks, well, if you are having account, if you are trying, then with the debit card itself, it will work. Okay, even sometimes HDFC Bank also like that. HDFC Bank also sometimes it will work, sometimes it will not work. But with the credit cards, 100% it will work with the credit cards. Okay, and as you guys are aware, so this free tier eligibility is only for 1 month. So guys, do not create your accounts unless or until you guys are very strict that okay, definitely this month I'm going to do the end-to-end practice. Make sure that if you guys feel like yes, definitely I'm going to do the practice, definitely this month dedicatedly I'll complete my practice, okay, in that case only create the free tier accounts. Otherwise don't create the free tier accounts. It won't make any sense for you to create it. Okay, so now here what we are going to do, we will go ahead and we'll try to provide your credit card information, what is the number, what is the address details and everything, and simply go ahead and click on sign up page. So the moment you click on a sign up page, it is going to ask you the few details like, okay, so activate your free tier and then pay as you go. Okay. So you will be having two types, guys. One is your free tier and second one is your pay as you go. Select the free tier eligibility. Select the free tier eligibility. Automatically it will go and it will redirect you to the main page of your login, or you can say like your login page. Okay, so I'm not eligible for the free tiers anymore, guys. I'll be using my pay as you go account. Okay, but for you guys, make sure that you guys are completing the credit card transaction over here and click on the sign up button. Once you click on the sign up button, you'll be redirected to the parent page. So this is how you guys are going to create your Azure accounts. Okay, Azure free tier accounts. If anyone have any doubts, guys, please let me know so that I can explain you if any doubts exist.
Uh, Sean, I also see that student account. What is it? Can
Aha.
we also?
See, guys, generally we do have a one more category called a student accounts. Okay, so generally what happens is like for student accounts, they will give you 1 year validity. They'll give you 1 year validity with $100, with $100 as an eligibility. So the problem with the student accounts is you need to have a university email address. So university or college valid email ID should be there. For suppose if Mohan is doing his graduation, so then Mohan is going to get at the rate, let's say like, llama.com. So here he should be having the educational institute domain based mail addresses. Okay. So then only it is going to work. Okay. Or else, let's say like a Sanjeev at the rate, lovely professional university.com. So student accounts, this domain, if you have Mohan, then you can try. First, you try the free tier account. After you complete the free tier account, you can go with your student account if you have any valid email address. Is that making sense?
Sure, sure.
Hmm.
Understood. Maybe I can use my ISB account, I think. Yeah.
Yes, yes. If you have it, then well, you can use that. But keep it as a secondary. Okay, primary, use the free tier account. After you are done with that, then create one more account where you can use it for a long time.
Okay.
Hmm.
So I already have a Microsoft account, not Azure, but it is asking me for I can use that same thing and create a free account and proceed, right?
Okay, guys, what I recommend, like I mentioned. Okay, so recommendations from my side is, if you feel like no, I might have used this email address for my Microsoft related things, then I recommend to take new email ID. I recommend to take a new debit or a credit card. Make sure that you guys are giving your new mobile number. Make sure that you guys are giving a new address. Ensure you are doing registration from new device. You guys have to do the registration itself from the new device. Okay, don't use the same network which you guys have used earlier to create it. They can easily track it out, what is the source from where this request is coming. Okay, if that particular source of a generation or source of a request for a request for account creation is the same, so then they are going to block. They will create they will create your Azure account, but they will say like simply you are not eligible for a free tier account. Once you log in, they will simply say like, okay, you are not eligible for free tier account. So then you have to obviously move to or switch to pay as you go. Is that clear, Mohan?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So now if you want to give a try, you can give a try. It's up to you.
Sure. I don't know if I have created or not. I could see that it is asking, so I just thought, yeah, understood.
Yeah, okay. So guys, yeah. So any other doubts from anyone?
No, Sean.
Okay, Francis. Good, good. Okay, guys, then. So let's try to log into our parent account, right? See, guys, so starting from today, you will be always logging into a page called portal.azure.com. You will be logging into a main page called portal.azure.com. So this is going to be your parent Azure console, guys. We call this one as a Azure console access. So where you guys will go ahead and you will start working with your Azure cloud. Okay, now let's go ahead and let's try to log into the website called portal.azure.com. See guys, in the cache, so it got cached with my existing email address, so hence it is not allowing me to log in. Just give me some more time. We need to get a page where we will go, where we'll go and we will get out of the main prompt so that I can log in as my regular credentials. If you observe here, so this guy is what he's doing, guys. So this guy, he's forcing me to log in as a KSR batch to multi-cloud DevOps at the rate outlook.com. So where my Azure portal account is done, guys. You can able to see here, right? My Azure portal account got created, but I cannot use anything. But I cannot use it because there is a free tile. This is a free tile. So free tile is not activated. If you want to activate, then what I have to do, I have to ensure like I'm authenticating myself by doing some transaction. I have to pay the money, then I have to do some transaction in order to make it work. So and then what? And then once it is done, then you will log in directly over here where you can go and you can start consuming the services. Okay. So now what I'll do is like let me sign out of this. I don't need this account anymore. It's just for a testing purpose. We have created this one. So let me log in with my credentials. So where I am using my account for a pay as you go. So let me, no, 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 I don't need it. So click on S. Guys, just give me a sec. I'm just facing something. Why? Hmm. Seems like, the old ID is still insisting here. Directory cannot access and that tenant the account is to be external. Okay. Limited access. Why? Okay, that's fine. So we are in, guys. Okay. So earlier, what was happening, guys? So earlier, it was redirecting me to the free tier account. So the account which I have created for your multi-cloud batch 2, right? So it was redirecting to that. So hence, what I have done, I know I just assigned it out, and then I have logged in with my parent account. See, guys, this is your azure.com. So this is your parent website, guys, which you guys are using for your day-to-day activities. Now let me walk through like what this portal is going to look like. How what are the different options that you guys are going to have, which you can explore more. So imagine a situation that the display, the entire display, it is showing me in a blue color. If you feel like no, I just want to go with something dark where I feel like black is very good for me. So then there is a button here called settings button, which you guys can go and you can click this one. Settings button is there, right? So this is my settings button. So where you feel like if you want to do some sort of a work, you can go and you can click this one. So under the appearance part, if you feel like no, I just want to change this one into a dark mode, you can go and you can apply dark. So now the entire skin, it is going to get a change to the dark mode. So those who feel like a little bit different, they want to have different colors. If you want to play with that, you can play with this one. So click on apply. Okay. So now whenever you feel like you need to know what are and all the different services that Azure is providing to the customers, what are and all the different services that Azure is providing. So you see there is a button called all services. So on the top left corner, you can see like there is a button called all services. So you can go and you can click all services. So the moment you go and you click on all services, what it will do is like it will give you and it will showcase you what sort of a different services that Azure is providing to the customers. Like under the compute, what are the different things that you are going to have. So under the containers, what are the different things that you are having. So likewise, in terms of your identity, so what is the different products that you are going to have. Okay. So likewise, if you go and under the networking, so what are all the different concepts that these guys are selling to the customers. So you can have a glance view of resources, like what are all the different services that Azure is providing to the customers. You can have a view over here, right? See now imagine a situation you guys have created your Azure accounts. So now you will be in a confusion saying like, oh, okay, I have created an account, but is this eligible for a free tier account or not? So am I really using a free tier account, or is it using my pay as you go subscription? Okay. So such kind of a doubt if you guys are having, so this is the search button, guys, which we will be going ahead and using it, where you can go and you can start searching for subscriptions. So yesterday, as we have discussed, so we are going to have what? We are going to have resources, resource groups, and then subscriptions, and then your Azure account. So now in this case, where am I going? I'm going to the subscriptions. I'm going to where? I'm going to the subscriptions. So now under the subscriptions, what do I have? I'm having one subscription. So where the subscription name is like a pay as you go subscription. So in your case, it will be showing you as the free tier here. In your case, it will go and it will show you as a free tier here. Okay. So in my case, it is showing me as a pay as you go, but in your case, it is going to show you as a free tier account. But if you would like to see what is happening with this subscription, you can go and click on subscription. So the moment you click on the subscription, okay. So here it is asking me for a payment, guys. I'll just do it after this class. Okay. So so here you will be seeing how much amount of a credit balance that you guys are having. So like I've mentioned, guys, you will be given a eligibility of a $200. So which is almost like a 60,000 to 17,000 INR you will be getting it. Okay. So where that how much amount that is left over for you if you guys are using your free tier account. So those details it will show you over here. Okay. So now what is the offer here? So this option you can revalidate once you create your AWS free tier account. You can come here and you can revalidate whether it is a pay as you go or it is a free tier account. So based upon that, you will come to know. You'll come to know which account, which kind of a subscription that you guys are using in the Azure cloud. So this is how you guys are going to validate it, guys. Now imagine a situation that, sir, I'm going to use my pay as you go subscription, sir, but I would like to see, like, I don't want to spend so much money on the Azure cloud. So how am I going to protect myself? How do I ensure like I'm protecting myself, not consuming so much money or not not paying so much money with the Azure? In such cases, what you guys can do is like you can go ahead and you can configure the billing alerts. What you guys can do, you can go and you can configure your billing alerts. So whenever I say like a billing alert, guys, so this will, it's kind of like a precautionary measure which you guys are going to take it, so in order to avoid paying so much money to the Azure cloud. So how are we going to configure the billing alerts, or we can say like a budgets, or we can say like a budget. So billing alert you can say, or I can say like budget alerts. So or else you can say like configuring the budget. So how you guys are going to configure the budgets? So now this is your subscription, guys. So where you can go and you can start clicking on the subscription part. So right now I am the subscriptions. Just select the subscription whatever you want. Select the subscription whatever you want. So where on the left hand side under the cost management you have an option called budgets. Under the cost management you have an option called budget. Just click on the budgets. So now under the budget, okay, you can go and you can click on add a budget. You can go and you can click on add a budget. Now under the budget alert, I'll go and I'm going to say like, this is what a KSR MCB2 DevOps budget alert. Okay. So now I'll come down. So till how long, guys? Creation date is 2025 June. So I'll say like we are already in July. So I'll keep it as a July, and expiry date like how long that you would like to receive this email. I'm telling like next to 2 years, trigger it every month. Next to 2 years, trigger this one. Trigger this one every month. Now, what is the bare minimal amount that I can bear? Let's say like, in a particular month, I'm going to have some budget. Okay, 500 is fine with me. Okay, 1000 is fine with me. 1000 rupees I can use it for completing my end-to-end practice on Azure. So then what you guys can do, you can go ahead and you can configure 1000 rupees as your budget. So now come down. So click on next. So here it is going to ask, okay, boss, are you going to go with an actual or are you going to go with a forecasted? Can anyone tell me, guys, what is the difference between actual and forecasted? Any idea from anyone?
I think the forecasted is what you think you might spend,
Mm-hmm.
and the
Okay.
actual is your fixed amount for the month.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Any other answers, guys, from anyone else? Thanks, Francis. Anyone else?
I think for by based on your activity, Microsoft would try to forecast what would be your. It would try to assess or estimate what you are going to spend in a month. That is called forecast. And while you're using, it will check what is the usage right now, and if that usage crossed 1,000 exact amount, or then it will fire an alert. So if the forecast, what happens is we will proactively get in saying that, boss, you are going to get, you might use more than this. Do you want to spend or not? In advance, more proactive. While actual is only happens when you really cross that limit.
Good, good, Mohan. Thank you. Thanks for that. Okay, fine. See, guys, generally, what we used to have a habit, right? So even now, few people will have a habit, right? See, where we go and we watch the news. At the end of the news, we'll be getting a forecasted weather forecast. You'll be getting it. So you will be getting a message like, okay, weather forecast for today. So that guy, what he will do, he will go and he will say like, okay, today you're going to get a rain. What he will say? He will say like, okay, today we are anticipating that you are going to get a rain. But in reality, we are not going to get a rain. Not in all the cases, not in all the cases, but yeah, most of the time, most of the time. So here what we need to understand is like the forecasting is what forecasting may or may not happen. Forecasting is what? Forecasting is a may or may not happen. It's just like a rough estimate. It's just like an estimate. Like, okay, this might happen, this might not happen. So what is it, guys? It is just like a rough estimate where we will go and we will say, okay, this may be, there are the chances that, there are more chances that this is likely to happen. Okay. But actual, whereas your actual, it is not like that. So actual is what definitely you are going to, if they say like, okay, today you are going to get a rain at any cost because of so and so reason. So definitely you will be getting a rain that particular day. Okay. So during your flood times, definitely they will give you the concrete confirmation so that they can accommodate a space for the people to vacate their existing places. So likewise here, better you click on the actual rather than the forecasted. So where I'm going to say like, okay, 80% of my budget. So whenever I'm consuming 80% of my budget, which means like I'm taking 1,000 rupees. So if I'm crossing 1,000 rupees, if I'm crossing 800 out of my 1,000, then what? Then it will automatically trigger an email. So come down. So what is an recipient, guys? So I'll go and I'll say like, this is my email address, and I'll go and I will click on create. So now whenever I'm consuming, if my monthly bill amount is coming more than 800 or it is reaching near around 800, so then what? Then immediately it will trigger an email saying like, okay, Sean, your monthly budget alert, your monthly budget alert. So you're going to get this email saying like, your alert is being triggered because you're going to over consuming the resources. Okay, so this is how we are going to configure your basic monthly alerts, guys. And these are all few basic things that which you should be knowing as part of your Azure cloud, right? So now what we do is like we go ahead and we try to explore our Azure services. So as part of our learning, guys, so the first service what we are going to deal with is we are going to deal with your Azure Entra ID. So earlier the same service we call it as Azure AD. AD stands for Active Directory. AD stands for Active Directory. Okay. So now what is the necessity and why do we need this Entra ID? What is the basic need and the necessity that we have to opt for it? Okay. Let's take a small situation, guys. So where we will try to address how this is going to be helpful for us. Okay. So now whenever I want to log into the Azure cloud. So here, what am I doing, guys? This is my Azure cloud. Whenever I feel like I logging into the Azure cloud, what am I doing? I'm giving my email ID and I'm giving my password. I'm giving my email ID and I'm giving my password. So these accounts or these credentials, we call them as root credentials. These credentials, we call them as a root credentials, guys. Means like using these credentials, you can do anything. When I say like anything, you can create an infra, you can delete the infrastructure, you can modify, you can update, you can grant permissions, whatever basically that you want to do it in your Azure cloud, you can do everything here. It supports everything. Whatever that you want to do, you can go ahead and you can do that. Right? Now, here we are considering Azure cloud. So whenever we say like we are considering Azure cloud becomes what? Azure cloud becomes my company. Because I'm going to host my infrastructure, I'm going to run my applications, I'm going to configure my end-to-end workflow in where? In the Azure cloud. So hence, this you should be considering it as your company. Now, whenever we consider this as a company, this is not always me, or this is not always root user is going to log into the Azure company or your infrastructure. So you will be having multiple people who are going to be the part and parcel of your organizations. Like I might have a developer, I might have a tester, I might have an infrastructure engineer, I might have a network engineer, I might have a DevOps engineer itself, or I might have some XYZ person. So here, what is happening is here, as part of your organization, you're going to have multiple people who are going to do multiple things for your organization. If these people they want to do many things as part of your Azure cloud, so guys, if you observe here, can I share? Imagine like I'm getting a network engineer where network engineer is asking, okay, man, I want to perform some work as part of the cloud. Can you grant the access? Is it a good practice to share the credentials with these guys? See here, what am I doing? I'm going ahead and I'm going to share the credentials with these people. Can I share these root credentials with everyone?
No, you can't.
Good, Francis. Thank you so much. So here, if you observe, guys, if you observe carefully, so we don't share the credentials, these credentials with everyone. We don't share these credentials with everyone. Why? What is the reason? Reason is like these are all the root credentials, guys. Whenever a user wants to log into the a user when he feels like he needs to log into the Azure cloud, then what? He needs to have his own credentials. The end user, he needs to have his own credentials. So in such cases, how am I going to create individual users and how am I going to manage their individual permissions? How am I going to create an individual users and how we are going to manage their individual permissions? So now this is a problem. What is the problem, guys? The first problem that what we are discussing today is like whenever I'm going with the Azure cloud, whenever I create an Azure cloud account, I'm going to get my root credentials with an email address and then the password. I'm having the details with me. Now the major problem here is like people are there in my company, multiple people are up coming to me and they are telling me like, okay boss, we also need to have an access to the Azure cloud. Now this problem, if I go back to Azure and if I told Azure that, hey, this is the problem, man, since I'm using Azure cloud, you provide me the solution. So I'm going to Azure, I'm asking Azure like, hey, this is the problem that I'm facing. I'm having multiple people and these multiple people needs to have an access to the Azure cloud where I'm having only one credentials, that is my root credentials. Now I'm not supposed to share these credentials with these guys. I'm not supposed to share these credentials with these guys. Then give me a solution. So then what Azure is telling is like Azure is providing a solution called Entra ID. Azure is providing me a solution called Entra ID. So where Azure is telling like, okay, don't worry. Whenever you feel like you are getting a requirement of multiple people creation and multiple people privileges when you are getting such kind of a requirement, go ahead and use a service called Entra ID, where Entra ID will facilitate you to manage and maintain access for your cloud infrastructure. Entra ID will help you to manage and maintain your users as well as their permissions. Users as well as their permissions. Okay. So hope what is the meaning of Entra ID? It is clear with everyone. Please let me know if it is not clear so that I'll explain once again, guys. Hope Entra ID concept is clear. No doubts? Okay, fine then. See here. So now, how to manage a multiple user access, guys? How do we go ahead and how do we manage a multiple user access? Okay. So now, imagine a situation that I'm getting multiple people, like I'm getting user 1, user 2, user 3, user 4, like this. Many people they are coming, and many people they are asking me, hey, provide me the access, man. I want to log into the Azure cloud. So then what am I going to do? So this was the story that I have explained just now. So how do we manage the multiple users? So when I go and when I ask Azure cloud, what Azure cloud is telling, okay, man, don't worry, we have a service called Entra ID. Please go and use it. Now what am I going to do? I will go ahead and I will use my Entra ID service. This is my Entra ID, which is nothing but Active Directory. I will start creating multiple users like user 1, user 2, user 3, so on up to multiple users. So whatever the users that we have to create, we go and we start creating those users as part of our Entra ID. Okay. So let's see the assignment, guys, here. So let's try to understand your first requirement. Imagine a situation that I'm having a user called Suresh. Imagine we are having a user called Suresh. So what Suresh is requesting, guys, imagine like Suresh have joined recently as part of our organization. Suresh, he recently joined in the company. Now, when Suresh joined in the company, obviously he is expecting to have an access. What he will do, he will go to ServiceNow or he will go to Jira. So these are all the ticketing tools, guys. These are all the ticketing tools that we use it in the organization. So where they, what this guy will do, he will go to ServiceNow or a Jira and he will start raising a request. He will raise a request saying like, hey man, please give me the access on so Azure account, on so Azure account. He's going to do what? He's going to raise a request. Now the moment this guy raises a request, as a DevOps engineer, I will be getting a that request. Now, once I get the request, then what am I going to do? I will log into the Azure cloud. Once I logged into the Azure cloud, I will select the Entra ID. Under the Entra ID, I will go and I will try to create a user. And then I'm going to provide or generate the credentials for the user. Then I'm going to share these credentials with my end user. Then I'm going to share these temporary credentials with a permanent username. I will share it with the end user. Where end user, what he will do? End user, he will go and he will try to verify and he will try to log into the Azure cloud. So guys, architecture wise, if you observe carefully, total how many steps we have? We have total 8 steps here. So user will create a service now request. We will be receiving it. As a DevOps engineer, I will receive the request. Once I receive a request, then what I will do? I will try to log in. And then what I will do? I will try to create a user. And then I will share the credentials with the user, where end user will go and he will try to log into the Azure cloud and see how his user is behaving, whether he can able to log into the Azure cloud or not. So this is our first requirement, guys, which we are going to fulfill as part of our Entra ID. If you guys have any doubts, please let me know.
It's clear.
Hmm.
Sean, I mean, you still did not touch. There are many other authentication methods. So when we come to that authentication mechanisms, you'll talk about the differences, right?
See, Mohan, see the ultimate goal, what we need to carry from this service is how we are going to maintain and manage the users, not as such a product called AD, because AD it itself is going to carry a big domain.
Right.
So Microsoft AD itself is a platform, so which will be entirely managed by some different team. So you
Right.
don't need to learn the entire AD product here. Like what is a domain controller, how we are going to manage. What is a tree, how you're going to create it. What is a domain that you're going to create. How you're going to authenticate with the different applications. See, all these things are all out of scope for us. We don't need to learn. Okay.
Okay.
So we will stick with the knowledge of DevOps, that whatever is required out of this service, and we will go along with that.
Right.
Is
One,
expectations
one
clear?
question.
One?
Yeah, understood. But so usually in an organizations they would create an AD group, and to that they would keep adding people, and that AD group would have the required access, right? So I'm
Yes.
just trying to understand. Uh,
No problem.
so
No
here,
problem.
so when
Tell me.
you have Entra ID, does that act as an AD group here?
So here we are creating an individual user for now. So what we are trying to achieve is like we are going to create an individual user. Okay. But later point of time we will try to create a group. So that group, if people wants, they can convert that group into the AD group. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Just give me a second, guys. Yeah. Fine. So now let's see here, guys. So how we are going to fulfill this requirement? So what we have to do is like, first, let's go ahead and let's try to log into the cloud. So under the cloud, I'm going to search for a service called Entra ID. What am I going to do? I'm going to search for a service called Entra ID. So the moment you search for your Entra ID, the moment you start searching for your Entra ID, you will be getting a drop down, select that. So which is my Microsoft Entra ID. So now, once you have selected your Microsoft Entra ID, so what is going to happen, guys? You can come down, and on the left hand side, you are going to click on Manage button. So there is a button called Manage. Click on that. So now under the Manage, you have an option called Users. So you have an option called Users. In this case, I need to create a new user. I'll go ahead and I'll click on Create a new user. I'll go ahead and I'll click on Create a new user. So where I will say like, okay, it is going to be a new user. Click on Create a new user. So now new user is going to be, I'll say like a, KSR B2 Suresh user. So it's a bash 2 Suresh user. So where I'm going to create it with the default domain. That is the default domain, whatever the Microsoft is going to give. So guys, in the future classes, I will explain you what is a domain, how do we create a domain, how we are going to, create our infrastructure using our domains. So all those things we will discuss in the future class. But for now, what you guys can do is like keep it quite simple. Just go ahead and give your username over here. Once you have given the username over here, come down, make sure that you are giving the display name as well. So I'm going to give the display name also the same, KSRB2 Suresh user. So what is the user ID that I'm creating? The user ID is like a KSRB2 Suresh I'm creating. So come down and click on review and create. So make sure that you guys are remembering the password. So I'll go ahead and I'll copy the password. So this is the password and this is the email address. So what are we having? We are having email ID and we are having a user ID and then we are having is a user password. So these are all the information, guys, that we have. So now come down and click on create. So now what happened? So now I can able to see like my user KSR B2 Suresh user. So it got created. So now as part of this architecture, what happened? Suresh came to me and he raised a service now request. I got the request. I logged into Azure. I opted for an Entra ID. I created the user. And now what I have to do? I have to share the credentials with this user. What I have to do? I have to go ahead and I have to share the credentials with this user. So who is the user? Suresh is the user. Who is the user? Suresh is the user. Okay. Now let's say like I have shared the credentials with him. Now what Suresh is going to do? Suresh will go and Suresh, what he will do? He will go ahead and he will try to log into the. He will try to log into his account. Now Suresh is trying to log in, guys. Now who is trying? Suresh is trying to log in. So I'll say like a KSR B2 Suresh. So this is the email address. Copy and then paste it. KSRB2 Suresh user @ so domain. Click on next. So now he's going to give the password. So what is the password? This is the password. Give the password. Sign in. So now this is the current password. I'm going to give the new password. So where new password I will give for this user. So click on sign in. Now what happens is like guys, Microsoft in terms of authentication they are very strict. So where these guys are telling me like, boss, if you would like to, if you would like to go ahead and a login, make sure that you guys are authenticating yourself with the MFA. So basically MFA stands for what? MFA stands for multi-factor authentication. So multi-factor authentication. Okay. So now how are we going to enable the MFA multi-factor authentication for the end user? So what you guys can do is you can go ahead and you can search for, what you guys can do, you can go and you can search for Microsoft Authenticator. So when you search for your Microsoft Authenticator, you will be getting images like this, guys. So you can go to your Play Store or you can go to your App Store and you can download the Authenticator like this. So your Authenticator is going to come like this. This is for a desktop. Yeah. So in your mobile, you will be getting your Authenticator app like this. Now what I need to do is like I need to register this user for the MFA. So without MFA, this guy cannot log in. So now what my user, Suresh user is doing is like Suresh user is going to open his mobile. Suresh user, he will go and he will open his mobile and he will click on next. He will click on next. So the moment he click on the next, then what Suresh user is going to do? Suresh user is going to register. What he will do? He will go and he will register himself. So just give me a second, guys. Let me open my mobile so that I can register this one. Okay. So now what am I going to do, guys? I'm going to register this user. So just click on the next. Click on the next. So now in your mobile app, you will be getting a scan. So there will be an option of scanning the barcode. So where you guys can go and you can scan the barcode. You guys can go ahead and you can scan the barcode. So just give me a moment, guys, because I'm unable to scan this one here. So let me scan it. I will show you there. Okay. So now what I have done, guys, I just scanned this image. So where I'll click on next. From your mobile, just scan it. So the moment you scanned it, what is going to happen? It will start asking you, okay, it will start populating you to enter a number. So now I need to type a mobile. In your mobile, when you open your Authenticator app, so it will ask you to type the number, whatever the number that is displaying here, just enter the same number and click on yes in your mobile. So the moment you click yes in your mobile, what it will do is like it will go and it will authenticate you to this portal. So now click on next. Click on done. So click on done.
Okay, so quick question, Sean.
Uh-huh.
When you create your own account and
Mm-hmm.
you sign in, Azure did not ask you for your MFA to authenticate. But when you create a user, it's asking that new user to be authenticated with MFA. Is that the sequence?
See here, see, unfortunately, Francis, in this case, what is happening? I am the requester and I am the implementer and I am the verifier. Okay. So
Okay.
now, when you try to create your Azure account, it will enforce you to enable the MFA. Not immediately because you are a root user. When you try to create your free tier account,
Okay.
okay, it will not enforce you immediately. Okay, Francis, go ahead and just enable the MFA. It will give you a flexibility of 1 week where it will start slowly forcing you to enable it. After you complete that 1 week of your free 1 week of your journey with your Azure account or Azure cloud with your root credentials, it will start enforcing Francis that you have to enable the MFA. Now for an end users like our Suresh user or Francis user, so common user, when you are creating, it is a by default, by design, it will enforce and it will make sure that you guys are enabling the MFA. Hmm? Is that clear,
Yeah,
Francis?
yeah, yeah. Makes sense.
Okay, okay, great, good.
So, sure. So, Sean,
Mhm.
we will be using our own mobile uh, for any number of user IDs that we create. We can give our own mobile as an authentication. For,
Individual users will hold individual authenticators in their
right.
mobiles,
No,
but
for the
for your practice
practice.
purpose,
Yeah. Yeah.
tell me more.
Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
But for the practice purpose, when you are creating, of course, you are going to use the your own device for validating the user creations.
Hmm.
I'm
So,
done, Mohan.
so which means when we are actually creating or giving access, we should ask all these details and then make it happen for the other guy.
Like what?
So multi-factor authentication, it's on the user to create, right? Or will it be done by the admin guys also while
End
configuring?
user.
Because for
End user. See who is logging in. Am I
end
logging in
user,
or end user is logging in?
end user is logging in.
When he is logging in, he will be using his devices, right?
Hmm.
So which means like it is his mobile number, not mine.
Okay. Why I'm asking this question is like when we create this Microsoft Authenticator application installed on our system, right, within our workspace of our company, the admins have to allow us and configure this Microsoft Authenticator, and then they let us. I mean, what do you say? They authorize to use that Microsoft Authenticator, which is very specific to Chubb. That's the reason why I'm asking the question.
Yes. Yes, you're right. Like I mentioned, people will maintain. People will maintain their own setup. Okay. But end of the day, it's the same procedure. Nothing changes to your
Okay.
real time or to the class. Same way
Okay.
that which we are going to do it.
So
Okay.
I'm keen about how do they I mean, I'm just trying to understand, maybe it's beyond this class session, but how do they control that Microsoft Authenticator specific to the company versus uh, I mean, anybody, see, I should be using my company's Microsoft Authenticator, right?
See, every
Or
company is going to have a portal where they will be providing you the tools.
okay.
Okay. So now you cannot go ahead and you cannot access your assets, or you cannot directly go ahead and you cannot install whatever you want which is available in the market in your laptop, right? So they
Right.
don't allow. So every company is going to have an IT team who is going to do such kind of a massive work, like restricting the MAC addresses, restricting your Wi-Fi, restricting your users. Okay, so there are certain teams which works beyond our scope of our work. Now, how these teams are working, how these guys are arranging these kind of things and all, it's going to be entirely a different domain. So where you can go and you can, try looking out for an opportunity of learning those things, like how do we maintain, IT asset management. So in that course, people will explain you bit better, like how do we restrict a Mac user, how do you restrict a Windows user, how do we provide a group portal, how do we integrate multiple softwares in that, how do we provide it as a service, how do we update the laptops. So this kind of a knowledge you will be getting it over there.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Mohan. But for us, like I mentioned, no, scope is bit niche because we don't even enter into this scope of work in real time.
Mm.
But since we need to know like a couple of items, like how do we maintain and manage the restrictions, users, permissions, we are entering into this.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, cool.
Sean, is there only one way for the MFA, like multi-factor app or using mobile number or any other way to authenticate?
So here they support generally, since it is a Microsoft product, so it's always recommended to go with his own product. So otherwise you can integrate this one with your Google Authenticator as well. If you want, you can go with RSA. So there is a one more authenticator application which is available, RSA. So that way also you can go ahead and you can configure it. So where this is zero cost to the company, so you don't need to pay, because all these applications are free tools. Is that clear, Mani?
Yeah. Yep.
Great, great. So guys, now let's see the behavior of our user, guys. So here what is happening? My user KSR batch 2 Suresh user, what did he do? He went ahead and he tried to log into the Azure cloud. So now let's say like this user wants to access something. Let's say like he wants to create a server. So he will go and he will search for a word called a virtual machine. Now whenever he try to click on the virtual machine, what it is telling? It is telling, hey, welcome to the Azure, where you don't have any subscription. Let's say like this guy will go ahead and he will try to look out for something. Let's say like he is looking out for a storage account. Don't worry, what is virtual machine, what is a storage account, what and all the other things and all, I will explain one by one slowly. But right now our concentration is like, when the end user is trying to log in, for a login purpose he can enter. But what is happening now, this end user, when he try to do some sort of an operation in the Azure cloud, what is happening, guys? This end user, he is not entertained, or he is not allowed to do any sort of a work in the Azure portal. So here what is happening, guys? Here this user, when he try to log in, he is not he's unable to perform any sort of an activity, because we never give him any permission, because we never give him any permissions. So now what is happening, guys? Suresh user, he went ahead and he tried to log into the Azure cloud. From the Azure cloud, when he try to verify, okay, can I do that? Can I do this? Can I perform this? Can I modify this one? When he try to do it, he can't do that. He can't do that. Why? What is the reason? Reason is quite simple. Reason is quite simple. So we have just created, what did we do? We just created only user. We created only user, but not his permissions. So user is missing permissions, guys. In this case, our end user is missing permissions. We didn't give any permissions for this user. Okay, now let's try to figure it out. What is a permission and how are we going to deal with the permissions concept in your Azure cloud? Whenever you want to deal with your permissions, Azure comes with a concept called RBAC. RBAC stands for role-based access controls. RBAC stands for role-based access controls. So now, if you observe carefully, guys, what Azure is doing, Azure is basically a cloud provider. Azure is what? Is a cloud provider, which means like this guy will be performing, or he will be providing services. Services to what? Services to many things. For example, so this is my Azure cloud. Now in this Azure cloud, what Azure is selling? He is selling virtual machines. He is selling virtual networks. He sells the load balancers. He sells the data. He sells the databases. He sells the firewall. He sells the certificates. He sells the security. So what not? They will start selling many things. Now this is my end user. In my case, my Suresh user. What Suresh is trying to do, Suresh went ahead and tried to log into the Azure cloud, because we created our user Suresh to have Azure account access. But Azure cloud is having what? It's having virtual machine, VNet, load balancers, and many more things are there. Which means having only access to the Azure cloud is not enough. Having only access to the Azure cloud is not enough. Then what is required? Then what he needs is, he needs to have a permission to perform any sort of an activity. Let's say this guy wants to perform an activity on a load balancer, means he need to have a permissions. Let's say this guy wants to have a permission or perform some activity on the data, then he needs to have an access or the permissions to that particular item. So let's say like this guy wants to perform some operations as part of your databases, then he should be having a privilege to perform that operations. Now, how are we going to manage the permissions for an end user? How are we going to maintain and manage the permissions for an end user, which we are going to call it as a role-based access control. Role-based access control. Now, your role-based access controls are classified into three major things. Classified into three major portions. So one is reader, second one is contributor, third one is owner. So what are the RBACs guys that we have? So we are going to have reader, we are going to have a contributor, and we are going to have a owner privileges. We are going to have reader, we have contributor, and we are going to have owner. Now these permissions are related to what? These permissions are related to the services. Means this service, this service, this service, this service, this one and this one and this one. So means your RBAC you are going to get at your individual service level. Okay. Let's try to understand bit more about our RBAC. Whenever we talk about our RBAC, like I mentioned, you are going to have reader. So what is the meaning of a reader? Means like he can only read or view. He can only view things, but he cannot do beyond that. Now let's say like he is going to have the privilege of contributor. Whenever I say like a contributor, he can do anything. He can do anything except granting permission to others. Permissions to others. Okay. Imagine like I am having Kevin. What Kevin is having? Kevin is having a contributor permission. Kevin is having what? Kevin is having a contributor permission. Now, when Kevin is having a contributor permission, Kevin is having a close friend. Let's say like Mohan is a close friend for Kevin. Now Mohan is asking to Kevin, hey Kevin, you are playing with your Azure Cloud man. You are doing all the work. You are creating the servers. You are deleting the servers. You're playing with architectures. You are designing them. You are implementing them. Okay, you are doing a great job, man. I also have a requirement where I need to do some work. Can you please grant me the permissions? Can you please help me out with the permissions or the privileges so that I can also start playing with your Azure Cloud? So since this guy is a contributor, so Kevin, he cannot give the permissions to Mohan. But what Kevin can do? But Kevin, whenever he feel like he's doing something, he can go and he can perform because he's a contributor. Means like he can create, he can modify, he can delete, he can update, anything he can do, but he cannot make others to work like him. It is not possible. Now your third item is what? It's your owner. So owner, as usual, can do anything. Even if he want to make Mohan as a super user, then he can make it. He can make him as an admin. He can grant the privileges to your Mohan, but it depends upon the owner. So if you are having a owner privilege, then you can perform whatever you want. If you have your owner privileges, then what you can do, guys, you can perform whatever you want. So any doubts, guys, from anyone with regards to your reader, contributor, and owner?
No, it's clear.
Great. Thanks, Francis. Thank you so much. Fine then. So now, yesterday we have learned the hierarchy of creating a resources in a Azure cloud. Can anyone tell me, guys, what is the hierarchy that you have learned?
I think we have the
Resource
resource
group
groups.
subscription.
Very nice. It is resource,
Resource group.
and then what?
Resource
Resource
groups.
group.
Good. So you learned your resource group, and then
Subscription.
very nice, and then subscription. Now, whenever we are dealing with our role-based access controls, you can grant your role-based access control at your resource level. At what level? At a resource level. I would say like, no, this guy, he should not have a permissions. He should have a permission to only this particular item. Only one server he need to have an access. Only one particular component he need to have access. He should not have access for other items. He should not have access for other things. So then what? Then I'm restricting this user, saying like, no, only for this particular resource he need to have access. Beyond this, he should not able to see the other components. This is at your resource level. Now, if you say, no, I don't want this one to be having access for only one, but he can have a access for the entire resource group. That is also possible. Imagine I'm having multiple resource, let's say like a resource 1, let's say like a resource 2, let's say like a resource 3. If I'm having multiple resources like this, then if this user is having access at the resource group level, then what he can do, he can go ahead and he can see the resources whatever is available. And at the same time, if I want to present this user, then this user should be having, or if I am enabling the user to have a privilege at my subscription level, then under this subscription, whatever the resource groups that am I going to have, RG2, RG3, and whatever the resources that am I going to have, then this user will have a visibility on all the resource groups whatever we are having under that subscription. So whenever you feel like you need to grant a privileges for an end user, so you can restrict these privileges at different levels. Like you can restrict at your resource level, you can restrict at your resource group level, you can restrict at your subscription level. It's entirely up to you how you guys are going to ensure like you are granting the permissions or the privileges for an end user. Okay, so guys, if the theory is clear for everyone, then we will go for a practical approach. Please do let me know if any doubts here.
Yeah.
Great, thanks Francis, thank you so much. What guys, no one is active. You guys are okay? How about others guys? Everything is okay? Paddy, Karthik, Sucharita, we have Srikar, Anoop, what Anoop, Satish, Raghav, all good?
Yes.
Okay, great. Fine. So this is what I have presented in terms of your picture, guys. The scope of your roles. So first scope is at your resource level. Second scope is at your resource group level. Third scope is at your subscription level. Okay. First at your resource. Second at your resource group. Third at your subscription level. Okay. So now what we are going to do is like, let me explain you about a short story called a server. So that I will try to create so that you will understand it. Imagine a situation that I'm having a laptop. This is my laptop. Okay. So in the laptop, I'm going to have my CPU, I'll have my memory, and I'm going to have my hard disk. Let's say like this laptop is a brand new. Let's say this laptop is a brand new. So now in this laptop, what am I doing? I'm playing YouTube. Like some YouTube music I'm playing. Let's say some YouTube music I'm playing. So now whenever I am playing music, so how long I can play music? So how long I can play an application called YouTube. So in that, how long I can play a music? So I can guess how long that we can make this laptop continuously up and running by running an application called a YouTube. Can I run it for 3 months continuously without a restart? Is that possible?
No,
No, you can't run a laptop for 3 months. Then can I run it for 1 month?
not possible.
It is also not possible. Very nice. Very nice. So now it is also not possible, guys. This is also not possible. Then maximum how long I can run, guys? Maximum I can run it less than or equivalent to 7 days. If you're having a Mac system and if you're running a Mac, so it will withstand. It will withstand at least for next 7 days. Okay. So now this is my application. This is my application. Okay. So if I am running an application for less than a 7 days, which means like every week I have to send a notification to the end user saying like, boss, my application is not going to be available. Please do not use my application so on so time because my application is going to go down. This is a problem. So, but we never get a notifications from Google. We never get a notifications from Yahoo. We never get a notifications from your ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank. So every frequent now and then in 1 week, we are not going to get a notification. Very rare, maybe like once in a month and once in a year or once in a quarter, or once in a blue moon, you will get a notification from these vendors. Very, very rare that you will see the notification. Which means that, which means that these guys, they are not running the systems in the laptop. They are not running their applications in the laptop, which means like they are running somewhere. They are running somewhere. So that somewhere we call it as servers. Now what is the major difference between a server and a laptop? What is the major difference between a server and a laptop? Major difference is quite simple, guys. Major difference is quite simple. So in a server, I will be getting a maximum uptime greater than or equivalent to 1 year, where in a laptop, the maximum uptime I'm going to get it as a 7 days. Now, whenever I feel like I need to get a server, whenever I feel like I need to get a server, since I am dealing with my Azure and Azure Cloud, if I go and if I ask Azure Cloud, hey, I need a server, man, give me, because I want to run an application which should run at least for next 1 year without any downtime. Give me your solution for this. Then Azure Cloud, what they are telling, like they are telling, okay, we provide a solution called virtual machine. Please go ahead and use it. What Azure is telling? Azure is telling, don't worry, we are providing you a solution called virtual machines. Please go ahead and use a service called virtual machines. Now, whenever you feel like you need to create any servers in the Azure cloud, any virtual servers in the Azure cloud, you can go and you can opt for an option called a virtual machines. Okay. So hope the concept of virtual machine is clear. Don't worry, guys. Virtual machines
Yeah.
in depth we will learn in the future. But for today, in order to understand your access management, you need to know about it. Okay, great, Francis. Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Francis. Nice. Good work. Good. So now, what are we going to do? So we are going to create two servers. So see the architecture, guys. Let me explain you the architecture that which you guys are going to learn. Okay. So now what exactly we are going to do is like, we are going to create a resource group 1 and we are going to create a resource group 2. We will create resource group 1 and we will create a resource group 2. Once we create these two resource groups, I'm going to create a virtual machine in the resource group 1. I will create a virtual machine in the resource group 2. Now, what is the concept that we are learning? The concept is RBAC, role based access control. So where I'm going ahead and I'm telling like Suresh, I'm going to grant the privileges at individual resource level. The first privileges, what we are going to test it is like, I will test granting the permissions at only server 1 first. Then slowly I will improve the access for him at the resource group level. Then slowly we will enhance the permissions at the subscription level. So by going ahead and doing such kind of an implementation, like how an end user is going to behave, what is the behavior of this user, so whether a proper privileges are going to get restricted for this particular user in consuming these different services in the Azure cloud. Okay, so all these things we are going to validate and verify whether the user is going to, whether the user is going to, be active, and the user is going to have a proper niche permissions at the individual resource level, resource group level, and at the subscription level. So after we complete this, then what we are going to do, then we will take a realistic real-time requirement of customizing a permissions for a particular user. So how we are going to customize the permissions for a user? So where we will try to observe our the scope of our work, the scope of our work with a custom policy or custom role. Okay, so guys, I think like for today it is enough, guys. I think we are good to go. Let's connect to tomorrow. Let's connect to tomorrow class time. I will update in the group, guys, just to make sure that you guys are not missing the classes. As you guys are aware, this is just a 4-day session. As you are aware, like it's going to be like a Friday to Monday session only. So make sure that you guys are not missing the classes. If you're missing the classes, then you're going to miss many topics. Okay, so starting from tomorrow, guys, tomorrow we will be completing our access management, or your Microsoft Entra ID. So ensure like you guys are joining for the classes. Okay, so yeah, Mahesh, you there? Mahesh, would you like to take it up? Mahesh sir, you there?
Yes, yes, sir. I'm here.
Yeah, would you like to take it up, sir?
Yeah, yeah. Sure. If anyone have questions related to joining or something, maybe you guys can ask me, or else you can approach our team directly, guys. If you have any other questions, or else we can wrap up for today.
So I think, guys, I think, sir, yeah. So regarding the free sessions, I think today is the last session, right, sir? You want
Yeah.
to add something on that?
Yes, yes, yes. We can able to make it today as the last. Or else we'll take it tomorrow as well, guys. Sunday also same link you can join tomorrow. So tomorrow will be the last free session, and we can discuss anything in tomorrow as well.
Sean, if I may ask doubt,
Yeah, Mohan.
with respect to, see, somehow I'm not getting the option to configure budget alert. That's the reason why I was
That's
just.
fine, Mohan. In a free tier, you can't do that.
Oh, no, no, it's I took as pay as you go,
Pay as you go,
because
you took
it's
it.
not because I
It's
tried different
it's your account
pay.
or your company account?
No, no, my account.
My account. Okay, just a moment. Let me make you co-host. Okay. Yeah, try it out. Show me the screen, Mohan. Just wanna see.
Okay. Sharing a screen. You're able to see my screen, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, alert rules, right? It's
Budget.
slowly asking me add.
No, Mohan. Click
Hmm.
on budget, Mohan.
Yeah, I
Now
went
add.
there. It's not giving me this option.
Wait. Just hold on. So what is telling cost management is not supported for this account. Please change to another scope. Okay. So now you told me you accounted as a pay as you go, right? Go to your subscriptions and show me.
Should I have to subscription?
Since for already you are in a subscription only. Go little bit top.
This one, right?
You can select that one. Okay, click on that. When did you activated this?
Just no. Inside.
But just wait for half an hour or 1 hour, Mohan.
Okay.
Okay, just wait for it. If you're not getting this one, just let me know. I'll look into it.
Okay. So if we create and I mean whatever assignments that you are giving, right? If
Cool.
we,
It takes some time.
yeah,
Okay.
one question. Yeah, understood. If we keep creating and destroying whatever after doing the assignment, if we destroy it, so the charges would obviously be lesser, right?
Yeah. That's a very good question, Mohan. Okay, let me share my screen so that you'll get a
Sure.
visibility, like how much I am paying. See, end of the day, I'm going to teach
Right.
everything, right? I'm going to, you know, do the same thing for you. All right. So let's see. Okay. So if I go to my account, so this is a subscription where from past, 4-5 years I'm using it. So same account I'm using it. Let me show you the results. Okay. So if you go to the subscriptions, so generally it will not cost you more than 1,000 rupees every month.
Okay.
And
That's
moreover,
right.
you have to be very vigilant. So if you miss to do it, then you're going to get a bill. But be ensure like you're going to
Yeah.
delete the things whenever it is required. Okay. So to cost analysis, you can go. So another cost analysis you can see. Okay. Invoice for the month of April to May. So if I go to last three invoices. Okay. So around last 3 months I've just paid 2,000. So Jan to April, the total amount I paid is 2,000. So for 3 months, 2,000 in the sense like 1,200. So per month I paid only almost like a 400 only.
Okay. Right.
Here and there, very less only. It's like if you can compromise, not to have a biryani for a week, then you can learn one good platform called Azure Cloud. Mm. So if your entire family, if you guys are not going with a family, then you can have your complete analysis of your Azure cloud on your fingertips in matter of 2-3 months with just a
Yeah.
cost of 1,500 or 1,200.
Sure.
All right, I'm not telling you like this is going
Yeah.
to be a big thing, but we do have a students. I'm considering everyone. Okay, so for few
Okay.
people this is a big amount,
Right.
but end of the day you have to spend some money. Okay,
Right.
if you spend, then definitely you will be getting. Imagine like you are spending 2,000 rupees. Okay, and you are getting a 2 lakh hike on your current salary. So 2,000 versus 2 lakh. Now you guys take it up. You guys imagine what is the amount of appreciation that you are going to get on a small investment. So it's going to be very 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 big. Okay, very rapid, guys. So think in a wider way. Hmm? So don't think always like niche way, like okay, I'm going to pay this much amount, why I have to pay, I don't do the practice and all. So don't think like that. Try to invest something, you will get definitely return out of it. Hmm? That's good, Mohan. Thanks for asking, man. Have a great weekend, guys. Let's connect tomorrow class is very important, please don't miss it.
All
Have a
right.
great
Thank you,
weekend.
Sean.
See you, Francis. See you. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.
Bye bye bye, Mohan.
Thank you. Yeah.